Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry that it took so long, but after 1 long hour and 5 minutes, we are finally off the road, and we are here to present to you the opening stream of Resurrection Cup 2026, Codename Genesis. We will first start, of course, with the seed reveal stream, and then we'll immediately transition over to the Mappool showcase, the round 32 Mappool showcase. But before we jump into the seeds, my name is Gami Crayola, and joining me in the commentary booth is the lovely Liliana. Liliana, how are you feeling?
Doing fantastic. Hey, it's a wonderful morning here, and we've got a lot of teams to go through. There are quite a few teams, so I think because we are on such a delay, we were talking about it, Gami. I'm just gonna let you kind of go ahead and go through all the teams until we can get to the 32 qualifying teams. So take it away.
Yep, that's right. We're just gonna rush through it as quick as possible. So without further ado, we'll be starting off with all the way down from seed 68. I aptly named Washed 6 digits. Washed 6 digits, you know, I'm a 6-digit player. Unfortunately, they'll be the first one to go down. I'm just gonna continue to speed through all the way down to seed 33. So if you hear your team, unfortunately, thank you so much for playing calls, but it just wasn't enough. So as mentioned before, we're gonna be seeing Washed 6 digit. Team FC Cunt, DT. Whoa! Oh,
Run it
wait,
back.
did they hear us?
Back.
Production, did they hear us? Production, we hear? Can we hear? Type Canada if you can hear. Type Canada if you can't hear, actually. I think we should finally be able to get off the road. I don't think they heard my intro. Did they hear it?
You know what? That's okay. We'll do a real quick one.
Alright.
Oh, intro's fine.
Okay, intro's fine. Alright, we're here. Yeah, I was just saying, you know, we're running through all the names, yada yada yada. So continuing from the teams that we were seeing, is gonna be C61 NAG moving forward. C60, why are we here? Succession Cup, Gang, Faker, thank you for the easy names. Rest the Cub, 2 weeks, Kappa Fries Orb, Red Knight. Man, what is this? Zoju, man, okay. Last place is ours, not quite last place. Team Falcons, I didn't know they had a club here. Project Filipino, Perfect Aaron, I think. Vegas +1, Indo Maret Timiz, Tubby Cat Girls, man. Sam Ho Fai Sahur, Jesus Christ, Nonchalant, China Z's 6, 7, Top Chuds, Yakikuru, Ta Mogando, Fumo Cerno, Ricky Chicken, Rocky Meal, the country of Portugal, OWC Peru 2067. Yes, thank you. And of course, the last of our teams that will unfortunately not be qualifying for Res Cup 26, is going to be OWC. No, it's going to be Hell Team at seed 33. What a shame. What a shame. I'm a big fan of these players. But with that said, Liliana, after a much less smooth running through of the teams that did not qualify for this tournament, we are finally at the teams who will be playing this year's iterations bracket stage. So without further ado, would you like to get into our seed 32 team?
Yeah, absolutely. Seed 32 coming in here. This is going to be your first qualifying team. We have Narita Top Road here. Going to be making it in to the tournament. Mume, Lover, Def, Vo, Hugh Grape, Love, Katagiri, and Zook going to be qualifying here as the number 32 seed. And on to the number 31 seed, Gammy.
Yep, number 31, we'll see John Ethken, Dracoria, Faija, Hidayo, and Reed Horimiya forming the team of Dango Daikazoku. Yeah, a lot of name power coming in from these teams, and honestly, Liliana, I think some people were mentioning it in chat, but I mean, a lot of these teams show very, very strong talent in their team. So I think the fact that we're seeing such name power, even from teams that didn't qualify for the tournament, I think just goes to show the strength of the players that we have for this tournament.
Yep. Notably, some decent scores already here, just in seed 31, but on to seed 30 now. Got Vamos Kaio. It's going to be Arex team with Ryu Yamada, Monty, Zivzare, and Julinko. What do you have to say about this?
I mean, there's really nothing much for me to add, right? I think it's going to take us a while before we see some teams make big splashes, but of course, a solid Hard Rock 1 and DT2 performance in the qualifiers does suggest that perhaps, these high AR raw mechanics might be their cup of tea going into the bracket stage. Well, that's it. Moving forward to our seed 2019, it is going to be Sunyan. It's going to be Hubba Wubba, Emerald Aegis, Bungwong, Tricky Pugster, and Nazuna Nanakuza. Hubba Wubba, our lovely caster, coming in for the Hiddens alongside Emerald Aegis, a good 6-digit friend, a good friend of 6-digit tournaments himself. Both of the Hidden specialists coming in, trying their best to put some scores on the board, but it does look like at the end of the day, their strengths do lie in that Hard Rock 2, so perhaps a team that favors the gimmickier side of Hard Rock a little bit more, maybe some precision could be interesting to be dabbled into. Not to mention, of course, the number 20 on Nomod 3 being their other standout performance, but nothing much more for me to add about this team.
Going on into seed 28 now, we have Team Oj, and this team consists of Oj, TP Koshine, Akichi, I can't pronounce the name, I'm sorry, Krishina, and Maxim. Doing pretty solid across the board, but if you look at that far right there on that DT3, they are the top scoring team for that DT3, so very impressive and interesting why they're all the way up in C28. You can see some of the other scores are a little bit more lacking, really not too comfortable on that hidden too, as well as just hidden overall, but that DT3 score really helped them out here, Gammy.
Yeah, no, that DT3 score is a hefty one at that. I think that's going to be something that teams need to look out for, right? And I think especially given a lower SR, perhaps some of their weaknesses, which does seem to be the hiddens in this case, will sort of be rounded out, sort of be evened out, especially, perhaps in the losers bracket where the power level of teams are slightly weaker. But that's it. Let's move on to seed 28. Seed 27, pardon me. It's going to be John Jin. It's going to be Crazy, Garalulu, Ronnie Pan, Macabea, and My Keyboard. I mean, some names stand out here, right? You have Crazy, the goat, the goat, the Unk goat, former OWC as well, and My Keyboard also from the South Korean OWC team from last year, if I'm not mistaken. And you're looking at their scores, and you see a team that's rather well-rounded, all things considered, right? They really only they do hit on the higher, or at least the higher margin scores that we've seen thus far, but they do have scores that stand as outliers when it comes to underperformances. You're looking at Nomod 3, Nomod 4, the Hidden 2, and the DT3 being the big exclamation marks for this team. So not really a unifying theme or concept to group these maps around. So I am interested to see how well this team copes, because I do definitely think that they have their strengths, right? You're looking at Hard Rocks, both of their Hard Rocks being incredibly solid, and their Nomod 2 actually being rather strong at that. So, I think this is a pretty weird team, right? I think this is a pretty weird team, and I think their weaknesses are not as pronounced as the teams that we've seen thus far.
maybe a little bit of a dark horse here in seed 27. But moving on to seed 26, we are going to be seeing Raw Iron coming in, and
Holy
actually
crap,
a team
man.
that only had 3 of their players play for the qualifiers and still managed to get top 26. So this team's actual placement could be a little bit higher. I mean, you see many scores in the top 20 of the map placements across that Hidden 1 and both the Hard Rocks and DT1, DT2. Despite only having that 3-man roster, I imagine if you add in the 2 players that weren't able to do the qualifiers, this team could definitely perform some upsets potentially. But yeah, this is a strong team for just having the 3 of them play.
Yeah, strong team indeed, and not to mention, right? And I think their lower qualifier placement in the qualifiers, obviously, their lower scoring could be potentially attributed to the fact that they only have 3 players, and so a lot of your weaknesses are a lot more pronounced, right? Because you see these stark differences. They have a very, very large gap between their top score and their bottom score. You have number 14th on both your Hard Rocks, and then you have 45th on your DT3. So I think if the 2 players that were available for this qualifiers are able to fill in those gaps, I definitely think that this could be a team to look out for going into the bracket stage. So that's it. Let's move on to seed 25. And it's gonna be Suguna Gite, Fuma, That Noob Guy, Stixie, and Wendy. All across the board, this team is sort of like what we saw from the previous team, but with less of a difference between their bottom and top scoring maps. Like unlike last time where we saw 14th compared to 45th, I believe. This time you only see 14th to 38, but it doesn't, of course, discount them from the fact that they do have weaknesses that are pretty significant. You're looking at a No Mod 2, No Mod 3, Hard Rock 2, and DT1, to name a few. But I think across the board, they do have good tools that they can use to score, a few easy points going into the bracket stage.
Definitely could see a couple of standout performances here. They do have a couple of maps that are towards the higher end of placements, but yeah, as you mentioned, this is just a solid all-around team. They don't really have necessarily too big of weaknesses, but moving onward here, we are going to get to seed 24 now with Team Flash. It's going to be Chonker's team. Gavers, Gauhao, Hollow Knees, and Jitterish going to be the roster for this one. And I mean, this is a very scary team. I'm actually surprised to see them as low as seed 24. I mean, they are going to still qualify, and they do have some standout scores across some of the players here on these map placements. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about this team being seed 24?
I mean, I'm also talking about their team name, right? We saw Team Falcons, and now we have Team Flash here. I mean, your boy is an MLBB caster. If this is a reference, I most definitely got it. But guys, Team Flash is in Malaysia, and they're no Malaysians. I mean, what are we doing here? Oh, well, wait, hold on. I need to check. Wait, is Chonker Malaysian? There's no way, right? It's gonna be really embarrassing.
Possibly.
They're only Filipinos, 3 Filipinos, 1 Singaporean. Yeah, what are we doing, guys? Come on, they're in MPL MY now. But yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. I don't think there's much for me to add in terms of the statistics. So that's it. Let's move along to seed 23. And seed 23 is going to be seeing Time to Say Hi. It's gonna feature 815, Jakon, Shipori, Mouse Player, and Niang. I think a lot of name power is gonna be coming in for Shipori in particular, right? After coming out of a very, very strong 3-digit World Cup performance representing South Korea, I think Shipori is going to be a very much so a valuable asset for this team. But I think looking at the scores, however, it's going to be Jakon who is one of the main batteries for this team, especially on the DTs. And you see, in fact, Jakon on a lot of the DTs was the sole performer or the sole overperformer who allowed his team or pushed his team's map placement on all 3 DTs all the way up, right? So I think going into the bracket stage, a lot of their strategy will have to revolve around their carries and how well their supporting players can perform going into potentially lower SR pools during the earlier rounds is going to have a huge impact or play a huge impact in their overall success moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to look out for Jakon, I think, on a lot of their picks. But moving forward here, seed 22 is going to be Let's LARP. We've got Bronya, Lifetime, Milk KJK, Simango, and Makeo. Really, overall, just again, this is another team where they only had, and I shouldn't say only, but they did have that one really well done score on one of the maps, and the rest of the scores maybe not so great, but that one score here is going to be on that Nomad 1. Number 2 overall, over 2 million team score there, and that's going to be a very impressive score on that Nomad 1 pick. But of course, there's still a couple of other maps you can see where they placed on the higher end, but nothing else that's really exceptional necessarily. So the fact that they are here in seed 22 does mean that, you know, they are still a solid team, but do have their weaknesses. I'm looking at those double times there, Gammy.
Yeah, definitely. Before we move on, for the uninitiated, of course, Bronya and Lifetime are Tebby and Qstronaut. I mean, I think they're more commonly known by those two names. So this is a 4 Singaporean plus Nope KJK team, and I think you put it very well, right? This team will have to look to play around their weaknesses going into the bracket stage, and you know, for what it's worth, I don't think they have a lot of crushing weaknesses. Really, it's just your DT2 and it's your DT3, and perhaps, you know, the Nomad 3 was an underperformance, because Nomad 3 is definitely one of those maps where you could just chalk it down to an underperformance here. So with that said, I think, you know, smart picking, banning strategy is going to be very important for this team, and I think there's nothing much more for me to add. Let's move on to seed 21. It's going to be Waddle Bleep. It's going to be Vine, Opoly, Syri, Wukio, there we go, Lil Brit, and Mike. Once again, Liliana, I think we're going. I think we're going for yet another team that has a very, very clear strength in one aspect or one map, and this time round it is going to be the DT3. Man, these lower seeded teams really like their DT3s. Man, I think it was what, seed 30 where we saw the number 1 on DT3, and this time all the way at seed 21 we're going to be seeing a team score number 2 on DT3. So you can already assume that this team is going to be rather strong when it comes to these harsh mechanic skill sets. But at the same time, you know, there always needs to be a trade-off, and it does seem as though this team's trade-off will be the hiddens, where you can see a pretty consistent tanking of both the hidden 1 and hidden 2.
Yeah, definitely a little bit lower scoring on those hiddens. That Nomad 2, I think, was maybe also a little bit more of a lower scored, but decent overall averages across the board. And that is going to be seed 21. Moving on here to that seed 20 now. I'm going to get to see Sorry Mr. Neasel is going to be Sirius team with Aiko, who didn't end up playing the qualifiers. So again, maybe a bit of question marks around what their possible placement could have been had they had all the players. But the rest of the team was there. Aleph, Trumpetino, 69, and Puyu all playing for this team, and they did end up making it to C20, a solid Nomad 2 score. I think this is the first team where we see a score on a map placement not be like a super standout one where it's like number 1, number 2, but still within the top 10, and also just decent scores all around. Not really seeing too many weaknesses on this team. Even their hidden 1, despite, you know, getting 42nd on the map, they still had a decent team score, and their only scores, team score that was below 1 million was on that hidden 2. So overall, well-rounded team.
Yeah, I think I think across the board, this team's mods will see a little bit more of a struggle, right? You're looking at the hidden 1 and hidden 2, or both hidden maps at that, being consistently weaker than the rest of their, you know, DTs and Nomads, and even their hard rocks, you know, aren't quite, you know, the standout performances, or do not contain the standout performances that we see in, you know, your Nomad 1 and Nomad 2. So free mod could potentially be a point of contention for Sorry Mr. Neasel, but I think other than that, that is all that I have to say for them. So with that said, let's move on to seed 19. It's gonna be Psyque, Qualifiers. Man, Cleffiles. I think that's correct. I think that's correct. It's such a cool looking name, I have to say it. Anyways, Yams, P, and Ha Sapi. Across the board, this is yet another team with clear weaknesses, right? I think the further we move down the list, I mean, the fact that some teams, or the seeding of some teams, are being brought down by 1 or 2 maps is becoming very, very apparent here. Across the board, you're looking at a team that has pretty solid performances and a lot of performances that hit under the bar. right? You have the Nomad 2, Nomad 3, Nomad 4, Hidden 1, Hard Rock 2, DT1. I mean, so many maps. It's almost half the pool where you have a map placement of above that number 16. But on the contrary, right, you have Hidden 1, Hard Rock 1, DT2, DT3, Nomad 1 even, where you just fall so far down the mark. And I think that most definitely tanked the qualifier seeding of this team by quite a bit. So I guess the question then, Liliana, is gonna boil down to whether this team truly has these weaknesses, right? I could definitely see a true weakness being had at, DT2, DT3, and Hidden 2, because these maps are all rather polarizing maps. But, when it comes to that Nomad 1, when it comes to the Hard Rock 1, which are maps that are a little bit more accessible in that aspect, the question becomes, are they just weak at aim, or was it just a bad roll on the day? And I think these are questions that will definitely be answered going to the bracket stage.
Yep, but we will have to find out, as you said, in the bracket stage. Moving on, though, we are going to get to seed number 18 here. It's going to be, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but Bombaklat is going to be the team. It's going to be headed by 5 Yoshi, Mornis, Get Loved, Azriel, and Zanli. And now we are starting to see, this is where I think we're going to start to see more of these higher than top 10 map placements, multiple ones at the very least here, as we do see number 9 on that Hidden 2 and number 4 on the DT2. I think this is the best placement for the Hidden 2 that we've seen so far out of any of the teams that have qualified. So definitely a team that is comfortable in that lower AR gimmick department there, with that Hidden 2 being that 7.5 AR. The DT2 is really interesting as well. I mean, these players are very well rounded. They have got the players for tapping, they've got the players for reading, and like this is a solid team. Do not let the seeding fool you.
Yeah, but funnily enough, I mean, they might have the players for reading, they might have the players for tapping, but it seems as though they don't have the players for standard aim, right? You're looking at the DT1 and Nomad 1, very, very large underperformances, and, large disparities between their top placement in number 4 on DT2 and their bottom placement, number 40th on DT1. So, again, I think I go back to what I said with Seed 19. The question is this just an underperformance, or do they just have a weakness in these skill sets? So, I mean, we'll have to see how that goes. So that's it. Let's move on to Seed 17. Seed 17 is going to be seeing some familiar faces. It's going to be Bubbleman, Raphis, Fedora Goose, Hondur, and Misty. And this is what we want. This is what we like to see from a team. This is a very, very balanced overall team performance, or a lot more balanced than we've seen from the teams before. It's not like we are seeing a huge drop, all the way at 40th on some teams. The largest gap, of course, is going to be a seat 4 on number 1, or map placement 4 on number 1, and a map placement of 34 on number 2, which is rather big. But you look at the rest of the scores, and they all seem to mesh together very well to create a team that overall seems to be pretty well equipped on a large variety of skill sets. And in particular, I mean, Raphis didn't show up for this, so it's a bit of an enigma when it comes to the true seeding of this team. To the point where, this could even be something that we like to call a dark horse in the biz. Of course, especially considering that Bubbleman was a grand finalist from last year. I mean, that has to come from somewhere, of course.
Yeah, I mean, these are the unks who have been around the scene for so long. I'd be surprised if anybody had.
It's a blend,
They've still got it. They've still got it. So we'll have to see how they do, especially if Raphis does end up playing. Which I think he probably did. He probably just wasn't able to do qualifiers. But yeah, moving forward here, Seed 16 now into the top 16 teams. We've got Nation. It's going to be Evert's team, Turkis, Tim Power, Isaac, and Kosirek. Some really solid names here, and really decent scores overall. It's going to be that number 7 placement on the Nomad 1. Tim Power getting number 1 on that Nomad 2. If I'm not mistaken, that's either an SS or they close to an SS, and they just got the spinner there. But still, yeah, some standout scores here from some of the players, which is really pulling some heavyweight. Of course, number 10 on that DT1. and a couple of other standout scores like that hidden too. So honestly, this team does actually cover a lot of ground in terms of their skill sets, but some weaknesses to be seen here, like that Hard Rock 1, maybe a little bit of underperformance for them. But yeah, what do you think about this one, Gammy?
I mean, I definitely think that this Hard Rock 1 could be, again, chalked down to just underperformance on the day, right? I think given what the team has shown us in other aspects of this pool, the fact that they underperformed this Hard Rock 1 is not too big of a concern for me. But I will say, compared to the rest of the teams that we've seen, or that we've just seen, this team doesn't really seem to have a large X factor or a strong X factor, right? Their only X factors, or their highest performing or placing maps in the pool, are that Nomad 1 and the DT1, but even those maps are rather accessible, especially at a lower SR. But you know, they still do have the Hidden 2, which I think is going to be a very, very strong asset. But you look at the distribution of that of the scores on the Hidden 2, right? It's mostly just Evert and Kosarik pulling up the overall map placement for that map. Meanwhile, you know, the third player syndrome on the Hidden 2 is strong. But with that said, that's going to be seed 16, and let's move on to the other half of the bracket, and it's going to be seed 15. We're going to see Mibombo, Martin Uchner, Driex, I think that's correct, Jervnik, Godzilla, and Oil9919. Across the board, this is, again, a rather strong team with just one or two standout underperformances that brought their overall seeding down. I say one or two, but it is quite a few. They have the Nomad 2, the Hidden 2, Harrock 1, and DT2 all working against them. But at the same time, they most definitely pack a punch when it comes to their X Factor, right? They got the Nomad 3, the Nomad 4, and the Harrock 2 in their back pocket. All of these maps being maps where you can definitely abuse going to the bracket stage. I don't mention Nomad 1 because, you know, again, AIM Nomad 1 is something that's rather accessible across the board. So I think that's all that I have to say. Do you have anything to add, Liliana?
No, you hit all the points, I think, that I would make here. Solid on the Nomads, decent in other places, but yeah, a couple of weaknesses. But what they're good at, they're really good at. So we'll see how they do here, seed 15. Moving on to the 14th seed now. Gonna see Kopo Bebe Pesha.
Feels the aura.
Surely I pronounced that properly. It's gonna be Niash, Izzy, Korean Maluko, Schwick, and Kurumi W. A lot of really solid players. Especially there's players from South America. There's players from North America as well here, I believe. But just solid players here. And I mean, look at these placements here. 4 top 10 placements. One. I mean, just basically like this team's placements really are kind of crazy. I think had their DT2 team score been better, this team would easily have made it into the top 10 just overall. But I mean, this team is very, very solid. They have players for pretty much everything. Nomad 2 also being maybe a little bit less than desired for them. Maybe third player on that, or just really not, you know, doing that well on that third player for the day. But overall, like, this team is solid at most skill sets.
I am so pumped to see this team. I do believe that this entire team is full of Brazilians, and if I know anything about, you know, some of these players, I'm thinking of Schwick and Izzy, they are extremely motivated players. We saw, you know, hints of that motivation in 3WC, and I think if that motivation, that synergy bleeds into Res Cup, this could definitely be a team that shocks us all, right? Especially when you take into consideration their seed placement was heavily brought down by the DT2 and to some extent the DT1 and the Nomad 2. These are all tapping maps, which is not quite what you want to see at the end of the day, right? Tapping is a very polarizing skill set, but I do think that with solid picking strategy, it can most definitely be played around. And once you eliminate these weaknesses, you have a team that genuinely has a very strong fighting chance on a whole holster of maps, right? You have the Nomad 3, Nomad 4, Hidden 1, Harrock 2, all of these control maps all at their disposal that they can use to great lengths going into the bracket stage. So, I mean, me personally, I am so looking forward to see how the Brazil Mafia perform going into the bracket stage. But that's it. Let's move on to seed 13. It is gonna be... Oh, it's gonna be... I'm so sorry. I just can't... Can you pronounce that? Can you pronounce that?
No, I cannot. And you know what's funnier is they're all American players.
Yeah, they
So,
are all American players. Insert Batball, RNG, Toki, and Indiana. A lot of well-known names in the scene here, and I think, I mean, it's already pretty clear that to see that they do have a standout mod weakness in Hard Rock. But I mean, you gotta take it away. Take it away.
yeah, I mean, I think those Hard Rock scores are actually very heavily underperformance here from these players because these the players that they do have for Hard Rock, maybe like I would only think of one of them as being like, they can all play Hard Rock, RNG, Toki, and Indiana. So these scores definitely seem a little bit out of place for me specifically, but I mean, just overall, this is a terrifying team. A lot of players here. Actually, I think all of them. This is basically a theoretical 4WC USA team in the year of 2026. It may have already been just a 4WC team.
No. I
kidnapped
Batball to my playtest.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, this is a solid team here coming in seed 13 and moving on out into seed 12.
Yep.
We are going to see. Oh. I'll let you do it. Sorry.
Yeah, all right. I thank you. It's gonna be Dadunai. It's gonna feature a lot of GOAT players. You know, I gotta support the Asian troops. It's gonna be Z98 numbers, MCY4, Lolo 233, Lolo 235, and Misha Awa. I mean, this is a stacked roster coming in from East Asia, right? You have tourney veterans in MC. In fact, all of these players are tourney veterans. Misha Awa is the only semi-new up-and-coming tournament player who's been making waves in a lot of tournaments as of late. And looking at the scores, really, Liliana, they don't have anything that drops too far below the margin. They don't have any map placements that fall out of the top 30, and they only have two that fall out of the top 20, being the No Mod 2 and the Hard Rock 2. I'm interested to see whether these become points of contention, these become like weaknesses that other teams can take advantage of. But again, similar to what I was mentioning about the team at seed 14, if they are able to play around these weaknesses, you find a team that overall is just very, very strong on a whole host of maps. And they don't have the classic East Asian debuff of being weak on DTs, it seems as though. Because, you know, they're hitting all of those check boxes, number 6, number 8, and number 7 on GT 1, 2, and 3 respectively. So I think this is another team that I'm particularly really excited to see going into Res Cup 26.
Absolutely. I mean, this is just a very strong team. Definitely more than worthy of their placement, but we are going to move on here to seed number 11. It's going to be the Cup. It's going to be headed by Orange Juice, Zimby,
another
Yurku,
USA,
which is JP, Bashiman, 741, and Aiden. And again, yeah, this is just a USA powerhouse team. I think a lot of these two teams that we've seen so far, I think they're just a lot of friends playing together, and they all happen to be from the same region of the world. But yeah, this is a solid team, and we do once more finally get to see another number 1 score here on one of the maps. This time around, it's going to be that Hard Rock 2. This is a very, very solid team when it comes to mechanics, especially some of these players I think are, if they aren't already well known for their mechanics, they are definitely starting to gain more recognition here. And you can really see it here on the Hard Rocks, the double times, and they really didn't have any scores that just like really fell below the bar here for them. I think, you know, even their lowest placement being on number 17 on the Nomad 1 map, which is like the aim map. So it's not even like that bad, you know, but yeah, this team, they do have weaknesses. I feel like you can probably try to get them on some more tech stuff, and you know, they're not perfect. They did get seed 11 here, but I mean, like, they're still a very strong team. It's a scary team to go against here, Gammy.
I think what this team features is a lot of heart, right? There's a lot of fiery up-and-coming USA talent. There always is, but there's a lot of up-and-coming USA talent to be found on this team. We're seeing hints of that even in this qualifiers. He's looking at Orange Goose with, you know, incredible scores across the board. Number 3 on Hard Rock 2, number 17th on Hard Rock 1, and Zimby as well. Really packing quite a punch alongside your cute as well. Just overall having very solid performances to the point where I see some people mentioning it in chat, but you're looking at Boshiman, in fact, drop unexpectedly low scores in the qualifiers, right? 300k on Hidden 2, Hard Rock 2, 379k. We know Boshi for being the guy on Gimmick, so I think these underperformances are perhaps just, him not feeling it on the day, him maybe not preparing as well as he could have on the day. And I think if Boshiman locks in, this team can most definitely pack quite a punch going into the bracket stage. But alas, we'll have to wait and see whether that cheat gene activates going into the bracket stage. And with that, we're going to be moving into seed 10. The big top 10 here now, Liliana. We're getting closer and closer. It's going to be Waddle D. This is the Canadian team. Well, Canadian plus TTV UFO. I'm not. I think Nujabes. I think Nujabes is NA. Is that right?
TS Fury is from Nujabes is TS Fury. That's a Canadian player.
So
it is full Canada and then one Hawaiian from UFO.
Okay.
So
well,
it's North America.
I guess. Yeah, I think speaking of up and coming USA talent, right? This team features 4 Canadians and the up and coming USA talent in TTV UFO after coming out of a shocking performance in Cal Online Invitational, the premier 1v1 Invitational of 2026. You're looking at a player who took a secret box all the way to tiebreaker. I mean, and not to mention, right, I'm pretty sure in LGA, I can't quite remember where TTV UFO ended up. I believe it was top 3, but
I think it was
very
finish.
Yeah, it was. TTV UFO kind of just sprung up on the scene and instantly started turning heads. So I think TTV UFO is definitely going to be a huge asset for the team. But speaking of huge assets that perhaps underutilized this qualifiers, is going to be Birchman not showing up for any match for qualifiers. So again, another case of, this team perhaps hiding their guns a bit, hiding their knives a bit, hiding their weapons going into the bracket stage. And I definitely think that with the presence of Birchman, their captain, on a whole host of these, especially on a host of these maps, I think Waddle D will definitely be able to perform a lot better on a lot of the maps that they seem to have fallen short on. I'm looking at that No Mod 3, that No Mod 4, right? And I definitely think that, Birchman being in these, being in for some of these maps could have definitely gotten them a higher overall team seeding. But C10 is where they're going to end up. Lilian, would you like to add anything?
Just a real quick, TTV UFO, I saw in chat, it was number 4 in LGA, which is still a very impressive accomplishment. And also, I am just realizing, the Birchman, Pikapone, Steam Happy, and TS Fury, Nujabes, that is 4, I believe, 4 of previous OWC Canada's roster, 4 members from that roster. So yeah, this is a strong team, especially when Birchman does end up joining them for the matches. So yeah, seed 10 still. I mean, they're a very scary team, but we're gonna move on.
I think this is the potential team. I'm excited to see how they go because I think they're the potential team.
Another dark horse here, despite placing so high. But yeah, moving onward here to seed 9. Now we are making it into the top 10 place teams. We've got Quick Parsec. It's gonna be Lychee Bova, Hexy, Yolkspie, Hifkill, and Satsuki. And I mean, just look at those hidden scores.
I don't think Yolkspie is very good at hidden. I think
no, you know who is this Yolkspie person anyway? I haven't even seen the name. No, this is a gimmick forward team if I've ever seen one. And honestly, they can still play everything else. I mean, look, you got number 5 on that DT1, number 10 on DT2. The Hard Rocks are well placed. The Hard Rock 2 specifically being number 8. And I think their real weaknesses really just come down to aim from what I'm seeing here, which maybe isn't even a weakness because like you can as that same maps on one day and then the next day you're like just missing in 500k every time. So like it's really a question mark. But yeah, this is a strong team here on seed 9.
Yeah, my only worry for them really is just the mechanics, right? It's a common theme with teams that are very gimmick forward, as you mentioned, where they have to lose out on somewhere, and usually it's where the mechanics come in. You're seeing hints of that in the No Mod 1 and, well, kind of the Hard Rock 1. But of course, these weaknesses can definitely be played around, and I think with the talent that they are presenting, this is a mishmash of the finest players hailing in from their respective countries from Europe. I definitely think that they have more than enough to, take the world by take the world by surprise, if I do say so myself. I think players in particular to look out for is Lychee Boba and Hexy, two players that I think aren't as well known in the international scene, or at least in the World Cup series, because their countries just aren't that present in the World Cup series. But I think in an international tournament with new players to back them up, with very capable players to back them up, I think they're more than capable of putting in some good work this Res Cup. Well, that's it. Let's move on to Seed 8. Now we're moving into the big top 8. We're going to be kicking things off with it a lot. It's going to be Caleb Shucks, Wanderio, Rykick, Hidden on Osu, and Flames tier. Is this another for Canada 1? Is this another for Canada 1 USA?
No, this time I think it's
it's
for USA 1 Canadian.
It's the other way around. It's the other way around. Yeah. It's going to be Caleb Shucks, Wanderio, Rykick, Hidden on Osu, and Flames tier, as I mentioned before. I think across the board, this team packs quite a punch, right? In particular, Flames tier is one of the fastest improving USA players. We saw glimpses of it in 3WC, and he most definitely delivered on that promise. All the way from Harbor 1 to DT3. I mean, this player really packs a punch. In particular, right, the Harbor 1 and Harbor 2 standout performances, number 4th and 6th, respectively. The only weakness that this team seems to find is in the DT1 and DT2. I mean, of course, the number 1 and number 3s do fall below their seeding bar by quite a bit, alongside that Hidden 1 as well. But I think what this team brings to the table is that X factor. You have that number 4, you have that Hidden 2, and you have the Hard Rock 2, not to mention the DT3 as well. And I think a lot of it is powered by, the strength of the tech players coming in for this roster. You're looking at Wanderio in particular, being the OWC newcomer for Canada and instantly being one of their strongest assets. But yeah, I'm personally, again, excited to look forward to this team. And I think it'd be a funny dynamic to see the 4 Canadians, 1 American versus the 4 Americans, 1 Canadian roster going into the bracket stage.
That would be quite a treat if we are to see that at some point. I am just like, you were glazing Flamester, so I'm not going to try to glaze him too much more, but this is a personal friend of mine, somebody that I knew when they were brand new to the game. And they were, this was like 2019, and they were like a 6-digit trying to FC 220 BPM stream maps, and I was one of the doubters. I was like, what are you doing? And they're like, one day I'm gonna be one of the best mechanics players in the game. And my goodness, it always gives me such a smile to see where they have come and how far they've grown. But yeah, I think we can move on here. Again, congrats on top 8 for this team. Moving forward here into the top 7. We are going to see Mr. Beast money. Don't click the link if you get the Mr. Beast money link. You know the one. It's going to be VL Joy, 209, Zumi, Emisthetic, Leon, and Tutel. And this team has got some pretty solid scores here. You've got, of course, the standout Hard Rock 2 getting 2nd place overall, number 1 on score on Tutel, and number 5 and number 4 on the Nomad 1 and Nomad 2 respectively, number 6 on that Nomad 4, and number 6 on that DT2, and just overall really solid scores. I think they kind of got 3rd playered a little bit there on that DT1. The Hard Rock 2 maybe not as comfortable with that being the precision, so they might have a bit of a precision weakness there. And that Nomad 3, I think we've seen a lot of teams just kind of not have the greatest scores so far on that, so definitely a tougher map. But this team, I mean, is very solid. You have virtually no real weaknesses that you can get hard abused on here. Yeah,
I mean, I think I think it's fair to say that they don't really have any hard weaknesses to be abused on, but at the same time, right, you gotta acknowledge the fact that this team's performances is so erratic across the entirety of the qualifiers, right? You have them going up on the number 1, number 2, down on number 3, back up for number 4 all the way until Hard Rock 1, and then down for 2 maps, Hard Rock 2, DT1, and then back up to equilibrium at DT2 and DT3. So this team is really all over the place when it comes to their scores. You could chalk it down to underperformance during quals, but perhaps it presents a more underlying weakness when it comes to these skill sets. Of course, we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition in the bracket stage. And I definitely think that more likely or not, it is probably just an underperformance during qualifiers. But alas, we will have to see how it goes moving forward. Oh, that's it. Let's move on to seed 6. It's gonna be Rectangle, and this is gonna be the first of the 2 Australian teams that we're gonna be seeing this Res Cup, I believe. It's gonna be a team headed by Superior, featuring Cloppit, Atkins, Drox, and Parler. Again, this is one half of the Australian talent that we are gonna be seeing in 2025 here, and we are seeing a 4-man roster this qualifiers, and even with 4 people, they were able to achieve such a respectable seed. Number 1 on DT2, number 2 on DT2. And I mean, if we're talking about seed 7 being rather erratic, this team is definitely similar in that vein, right? You have Nomad 1, Nomad 2 falling below, Nomad 4 falling below, and then HD2 all the way to Hard Rock 1 falling quite far behind on their other maps. But this team brings the mechanics to the table. Australia is always a country that has been known to bring the mechanics to the table, and they certainly do deliver on that promise with the DT1 and DT2. Oh, I mean, what are your thoughts on this team, Liliana? How do you think they'll perform in bracket stage?
I mean, you have definitely covered it very, very well here. I think this team is definitely podium contenders here. They are seed 6, of course. Yeah, I mean, seeding can only go so far to really tell you just how solid a team can do, but this tournament scales in terms of difficulty, and so like the qualifiers being on, for some of these players a lower SR, they can definitely get some better scores, I feel like, here, if they are able to make it throughout the tournament deeper and deeper. But yeah, I mean, these scores are scary to look at. Number 1, number 2 on the DT1, DT2, number 9 on the DT3. I mean, like, this team is just really, really good when it comes to mechanics, and they can play all the different mod types. So yeah, I think it's going to be a little hard to break through against this team, but anything's possible here, and getting seed 6 is very respectable for them, so congratulations to them. We are going to move on to our top 5 now here. Coming in at number 5, we've got Balner. It's going to be Fudge, Sila, Sharitori, Kusuria, and Arga. And this team, Gammy, if I'm not mistaken here, I believe is the first team to have multiple top scoring maps here. Number 1 on that Nomad 4, number 1 on that DT2, and then just across the board, it's almost top 10 in every single map, or close to top 10 at the very least here. With the only map that really fell short being on that Nomad 1. So this team, I mean, just looking at them across the board here, you've got number 2 score on that Nomad 4 from Arga, Sila with the number 9 score, and Fudge with the number 4 score. I believe that's 2 FCs from Fudge and Arga on that Nomad 4, and that's scary. And I think maybe this team might be a little bit good at Gimmick here when it comes to these tech kind of flow tech maps. But what do you think about this one, Gammy, here in seed 5?
I think this team is a very, very balanced team across the board, right? But what this team probably has over some of the teams in this top seeding bracket is the existence of sharp edges to fight with. They have the Nomad 4, they have the DT2, and these are and having this X factor, having something unique that you can bring to the table that other teams might not be able to match you on, is very pivotal, especially in earlier rounds when it comes to guaranteeing easy points on the board. So I think the fact that they have the Nomad 2, the Nomad 4, and DT2, it really shows the sort of this team dynamic and their overall composition of their skill sets featured across their 5 players. And for what it's worth, they might have underperformed on Nomad 1, but I think everywhere else where it matters, they can definitely put up a solid fight. If at least a solid fight, nothing below a solid fight, right? I think the Nomad 1 in particular, it's the first map of qualifiers. Who the hell likes Nomad 1 anyway? So I think, ignoring that blemish on the Nomad 1, this is going to be a team that is very, very solid across the board. I'm just more interested to see how well they scale into a later SR. I think they'll do fine, but considering some of the teams that we have left on the chopping block, it might be a point of contention for them moving forward. But with that said, moving away from Balner, we're going to be getting into our top 4 seeds. This is where things start to get rather dicey. Typically, the top 4 seeds are going to be your favorites to win the entire thing. So with that said, let's move down into our seed 4. It's gonna be Slushy. Oh boy, Liliana! Here we go.
Here we go again.
I mean, we're talking about the OWC players now. Takito, Rectagon, Window Life, Ethan Trix, and Decaton. These players need absolutely no introduction. All 5 of these players hailing from the OWC, the USA OWC roster, all the way from OWC 2024, if I'm not mistaken. I believe these players have been on the team for 2 years, so a lot of experience is being brought to the table, and it definitely did show here. I think Liliana, this is the most consistent performance across all maps that we've seen from any team thus far. And, you know, they might not bring a lot of number ones to the table, but what USA really excels at the end of the day is consistency above all else. With the exception of that Nomad 1 and Hidden 1, they really don't have any other map that you can find weaknesses on. And that is very scary, especially if your team, you know, even if you're a team that's closely matched up against them. When they can force at least a gamble on every single pick, when you have no safe picks at your disposal, it makes that sort of mental high ground is something that makes picking into a team like this very, very difficult. And real quick, if you look at the qualifiers differences, right, between these teams, at least their average Z sum or whatever. I'm not a stats guy, but you're looking at a difference of around, let me do some quick math, 0.25, whereas the difference between seed 5 and seed 16 was around, you know, around 15 to 20. So I think that speaks a little bit to the gap between seed 4 and seed 5, and it definitely does show, right? Given how consistently well this team performs across all maps in this pool.
Yeah, this is a definite. Again, I feel like I won't repeat it for the rest of the teams, but like this is going to be the case for, I think, at the very least the top 5 teams, top 6 teams that we will get to see here. They are all in contention for podium finish here, I believe. Yeah, as you mentioned, you know, these are veteran OWC USA players. Some of them have been playing for quite a while. I believe last year for 2025 was the first appearance that we got to see Ethan Trix make it on to the OWC roster. This is a beloved player in the US tourney scene. And something that I think is worth mentioning for this team, just real quick, is that they have a lot of overlap in their skill sets. So much so to the point of, like, they opted to not play Ethan Trix on something like that Nomad 3 or the Nomad 4, which I feel like he would be a specialist on, but simply because you've got Taquito and Rectagon and Window Life and Decaton all around.
My lobster is too buttery and my steak is too juicy.
Exactly.
Damn it.
Yeah, they might be struggling to figure out who exactly to put in, but this is a scary team here. Seed 4, very, very impressive, and congratulations to them. But now,
Seed 3, oh my gosh!
To the top 3 qualifying teams here.
Dude, this top 3 is insane. Like if you look at this, you wouldn't have expected. I feel like not as many people would expect this top 3, but would you like to usher us into our top 3 teams?
Absolutely, here we go. Seed number 3, OWC ready, and I agree, we've got intercambing Matthew, Alfiu, Gonza, and Nekore. This is just an aura farming team, Gammy. Go ahead and take it away here on this
one. My goodness, thank you so much, Liliana. I have so much to say about this team, right? I think, I believe this was the, in 3WC, in the 3 Digital World Cup, we saw a 3-man core coming in from Chile, right? And this 3-man core was Alfiu, Gonza, and Nekore. And I kid you not, during the seed review, every single caster predicted them DNQ or out as soon as they could be out. This team got, I can't quite remember what the number was. I think it was seed 4. And it took all of the casters by surprise. Like it was insane seeing the lengths that these players would go to when it came to, you know, trying to prove their worth on the global stage. And now you have the 2 superstars of Chile, Intercambing and Matty, the aim and tapping demons respectively. I mean, this is a terrifying team, and the fact is, you know, people often overlook Chile as a team. You know, it's not USA, it's not South Korea, it's not Canada, it's not Germany. And so for that reason, you often see a lot of people overlook the strength of Chile as a country. This team, as their name suggests, is a indication that they have fire. You know, they are willing to fight and they are determined to show the world what they are made of. You look at a team that is extremely gifted when it comes to their mechanics, and a team that in fact only seems to have one weakness, and that weakness of course is the hidden 2. Now, you know, I can't sugarcoat it, but this hidden 2 is going to be a big hurdle to overcome. Gimmick is going to be a big problem for this team, but at the same time, you can ban them out. Of course, it does limit, you know, you being able to ban other things, but when you have a team that's incredibly strong on everything else, I think that these weaknesses more or less will be able to be played around by this team with smart picking strategy. I think this team, in addition to the team that we'll talk about after this one, is going to face this similar weakness, and that weakness is going to be in their scaling, right? When they go to higher SR, how well would they be able to do it? With a team like Seed 4, we know that they're capable on a higher SR. They have been on the OWC stage. They've played at that top echelon, but the question is, can these players match up to them? And frankly speaking, I think they can. So, you know, if there's any team that I would put my money on, if there's any team that I would buy a flag for if I could, it would definitely be this OWC ready team. I love Chile. I'm so excited to see what they're made of, especially after the incredible shocker that they showed us this 3WC.
Yeah, I mean, this is just Chilean talent at its core. I think there's really not much else to say about this team. Congratulations to them placing here as seed number 3, but now there are 2 teams left remaining to talk about here, and we are going to get it underway with seed number 2 is going to be
seed number 1
to be determined. It's going to be Bananachi, Aheo, Badu, Jackpacks, and Killer 2007 here getting seed number 2. Gammy, what can you say about this team?
Yep. Slow and steady wins the race. Consistency is king. This team only has weaknesses in the DT2 and DT3, and similar to what we saw from Seed 3, I think these weaknesses can definitely be played around. Now, this team, I love all these players. Bananachi, Aheo, Badu, Jackpacks, Killer 2007. I've seen them in some places. They're really like a ragtag bunch of players, right? You have a blend of players that, you know, are veterans. You have your Badu, you have Aheo, who've been mainstays of their respective World Cup rosters. And then you also have players who, you know, only recently started making big splashes on the scene, like Jackpacks, like Killer, like Bananachi. Well, I say recent, but, you know, they've always been doing well. It's just that, you know, when the most accessible stage to viewers, you know, to people alike is the World Cup series, you always see people from these smaller countries like Italy, Greece, and to some extent the Netherlands really fall short behind, and so you really don't get to see these players perform at the top level when it comes to the International World Cup series. But, you know, here is that proving ground, and with, you know, a team, I believe, you know, one of the few teams that has a completely unique palette of countries all coming together, I am so excited to see how this European squad of ragtag top players perform this Res Cup. Of course, I mentioned before, they do have their weaknesses, and I think this team will likely face the same weakness as OWC Ready. It's all going to come down to the skill cap, right? It's going to come down because once the skill cap gets hit, once the SR gets raised extremely high, that's where the weaknesses of these teams will start to not just show, but become magnified, become more obvious to their opponents. And that's really going to sting. That's really going to sting, especially if you can't scale up to match the other teams that we have at the top level. But yeah, with that said, Liliana, I'm quite sure a lot of people in chat are excited to see how this team plays out this Res Cup.
Oh, absolutely here. This is just a fantastic showing here for these players to get seed number 2. Again, really solid team all across the board. You can maybe say some low rolls there on the DT2 and DT3, but if you're low rolling and you're still getting number 12 and number 15 overall on the maps, I mean, can we really call it a low roll? Like, this is going to be a very strong team, but guys, you have been waiting for the final moment here, and I think a lot of players kind of already know what's happening. We already kind of hinted at it as well,
no
Gammy. Seed number 1, Gammy. It's going to be, again, another Australian powerhouse, 37 AMC lovers. And it's gonna be none other than Secret Box, Mrex, Zentex, Treyarch, and Poyuto. Gammy, take it away.
Pause. Like, I gotta talk about this team. Alright. Yes, they have a Secret Box, they have Mrex. Sure. Alright, sure. We already know that they're some of the best of the best, if not the best players, tournament players in the scene, full stop, right now. But I'd like to highlight, the support that they have here. Zentex has been a mainstay of the OWC roster for every year apart from 2025, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't play in 2025, but for the past few years before that, he was a mainstay of the roster, and he always seemed to be one step behind, the powerhouses in MREC and the Secret Box. If you ask me, I would describe Zentex as a player who's lived in the shadows of his, stronger teammates that grab all the limelight. That's what I thought Zentex was gonna be this 3WC. And by God, similar to what we saw from Chile, Zentex showed up. Zentex was insane. He was incredible at 3WC, and it really showed a whole new fire burning in Zentex that I didn't quite expect from him. I'm gonna say it, Zentex. If you're watching, I was a Zentex hater, but after seeing what we saw from 3WC, I stand very, very much so corrected. And I think on an SR that gets cranked all the way up, I think Zentex is honestly even competitive with some of the big dogs coming in from this roster. Of course, being a Secret and MREC. And not just that, let's talk about Treyarch real quick. From the Oceanic Cup, 3rd place, podium finisher if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was 3rd place. But Treyarch is a player that I believe was on the OWC roster, or at least in contention for the OWC roster some years ago. Recently came back, and this guy is the control that Australia needs. This guy is their missing piece. Treyarch in the Oceanic Cup, I watched him play the match. I think it was against Parla. It's eluding me right now, but it was the match for podium. They went all the way to tiebreaker, and I saw some crazy picking strategy coming in from Treyarch. This guy was picking his opponent's maps in order to get the mental high ground, in order to get his opponent to pick his control maps into him, in order to limit the options of his opponent. And when it seemed as though Treyarch was backed into the corner, this guy's resilience came through, and he shined like a diamond. He won on tiebreaker, and to this day, it is one of the greatest performances that I myself has watched as a commentator in a 1v1 setting. So Treyarch, kudos to this guy. And of course, Poyuto, I think is gonna be the least known player in the international scene, but I gotta talk about this guy. This guy, I believe, was a 5WC player all the way in you and I were 5WC casters. I believe he was a 5WC player in 2025. And Poyuto was one of the main carries of Australia. Now he is 4-digit. But this guy, I don't want to call it right now, but this guy might be the gimmick player that Australia needs, man. Like, this guy can match up to some of the top players when it comes to especially the hidden twos, but I think his main skill set obviously sticks around the hidden pool in general. But I think for what it's worth, for what this team needs, Poyuto is a very, very strong asset that most definitely shouldn't be overlooked in any sort of capacity. In fact, I think going into the Oceanic Cup, a lot of people underestimated Poyuto, but I believe he got a very, very respectable seeding in seed 10 or something, outseeding a lot. I mean, some 4WC, some 3WC players even. You're gonna have to fact check me on that. I'm not too sure. My glaze is not entirely accurate, but I think it's clear to see that, everybody looking at this team is gonna look at a Secret Box. They're gonna look at MREC. But I think that is foolish. I think to just look at them is foolish thinking, because really the support from the 3 players that they have in their back pocket is really what rounds this team together. And, 1 or 2 players can only take a team so far. It's all about the support. And I think that sums up Australia's run in OWC, Australia's runs in OWC over the past few years very, very well. We've always looked up to a Secret Box and MREC, but it's always been a question of who else is capable of stepping up to the plate. And I think Res Cup, given that we have, country locks, given how we have 2 whole Australian teams to look at, it's going to be very exciting to see what the support of Australia is capable of.
Yeah, this is going to be the seed 1 team for a reason, and yeah, I mean you have done such a fantastic job overlining the whole dynamic of this team, and this is just a scary team to go against, even if it's just a few of these players like Emrek or Secret Box on the team, and then even more unknown, or at least players that most people aren't familiar with. If there were like, you know, like 6 digits on the team, like, you'd still be terrified of this team just simply because you do have that strong core of Emrek and Secret Box. And then yeah, of course, the rest of the players really do round out the team oh so well. And I agree, Poyuto is a player who has been making strides across many different rank restrictions throughout all the different tournament scenes, and is a player to be respected, especially if you are somebody who isn't necessarily as familiar with their game. This is a strong team. They got number 1 for a reason, but yeah, there's not much to say as far as weaknesses go for this team. That hidden 2, even that feels a little bit kind of like a fluke, but still, I think that's your best shot, and you just kind of have to go pick for pick with this team and hope that they get some poor scores or some bottom scores or something. And it's gonna be tough, but this is your seed 1. They got it for a reason, and Gammy, I think that's all to say. Congratulations to the top 32 qualifying teams. Gammy, go ahead and take it away here for the transition.
Yeah, thank you so much, Liliana. Before we go, I feel as though this is the narrative that has been painted across every single open rank tournament as of late. It's been the narrative painted in Battle of the Box. It's been the narrative painted in Kel Online Invitational. It's always a question about Emrek, right? This guy, Emrek, across these past few years, has proven himself to be probably not just the greatest number 1 player of all time, but likely the greatest tournament player of all time. And it seems as though everywhere Emrek roams, he lays a path of rubble. There is no one denying the fact that going to this tournament, Emrek team is the clear favorite to win, and it's not even close. It's the crystal clear favorite team to win it all. So I think going into Res Cup 2026, the big question that looms over everybody's head is who will be the one to step up to the plate and challenge what seems like an unstoppable force. The Flying Tuna tried in Cal Online Invitational and he failed. It wasn't pretty, but it is what it is. So hopefully in a team tournament with the strength of 5, perhaps someone will be able to, put an end to the reign of Emrek. And I think if there's any stage strong enough, if there's any stage large enough to do just that, I think Res Cup is a pretty good candidate for such. But with that said, I think we summed it up pretty well, Liliana. I think we made pretty solid time. Given the amount of teams, given the whole 68 teams that we've had this seed review. Once again, before we go, a huge shout out to every single team who played qualifiers, right? Res Cup is only possible with the players that are willing to play it, with the players that are willing to support it. And, it really did hearten me to see so many teams sign up for open rank tournaments, even though, I want to say, but I would say that the tournament scene is, kind of in a stale position now. But the fact that, so many people are still willing to come down, still willing to compete, really brings a smile to my face. So, from the administrative team of Res Cup, we hope that your time in Res Cup was enjoyable for the teams that are DNQ, and we hope that your time in Res Cup is currently enjoyable, or if so, will continue to be enjoyable for the time that you spend in this tournament, because at the end of the day, it's all for the love of the game. But with that said, I think we've talked enough, right, Liliana? This seed reveal. I think players are itching to see what we have in store for them in the round of 32. I believe we have one very, very interesting map to look forward to. But with that said, I do believe that we are going to be taking a quick break as we let our lovely poolers flood into the VC. This is going to be my time to step down, and it's going to be Pez's time to step up. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be watching Masters London, and while I'm watching the Mappool showcase. But until then, I think we will be closing off for just a little bit. And to wrap up the stream, my name has been Gimli. Her name has been Liliana. Huge shout out to Hook for being our lovely streamer on the production for the seed reveal. And we will see you in the round of 32 Mappool showcase. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, they can hear me, right? They can hear me.
Wait,
Knock
wait,
knock.
wait, wait. Knock knock. Who's there?
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Are we getting into the Mappool showcase? This is my favorite player, Pikaphone, in the chat. I see you. What is going on? Happy Monday, everyone. Can't wait to get in this pool showcase. A lot of joyous maps, a lot of love in this pool. Yeah, no, a few different ideas we're gonna be testing out this week, but more or less, there should be a lot of familiar ideas overall. And joined by Liliana again. Thank you for pulling up to the seed reveal. Welcome to the showcase. How are you doing?
I'm here for the yapping. I have not seen the pool just the same as the players, so I'm gonna put on like my surprised face when I see like something crazy, you know. No, it'll be fun. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, let's get into the pool, guys. Nomad 1 is gonna be. Thank you for the Venom by Super V. I have to DM this guy not to update the map, but it's gonna be a super generic name map. Super G, very familiar, very comfortable for players. Oh. You can't hear the music right now, and neither can we, but it is getting fixed, guys. It is getting fixed. Don't worry. Trademark. What a shame, because this is the best. This is the best song in the pool, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's downhill from here. You can't really beat MCR. Thank you for the Venom.
Are they still doing stuff? I know they came back and they were a very significant part of my life, but I've not been able to see any of their recent stuff when they went back on their tours again recently.
I honestly hear. Yeah. I don't follow news.
Yeah, I don't. I used to go to so many more concerts, and now I don't have the time for it anymore. But yeah, this is actually one of the maps that I feel like maybe the only map that I think I might know, but this is the only one that I know so far. It's the first one, and yeah, as you said, it's just consistency mechanics in the Nomad 1 slot here with the jump aim. You've got some bursts. It's MCR. So it's very edgy in terms of the music style, but I love it.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's a little bit higher than 200 BPM, it's like 207. I think that makes this kind of aim a lot more fun. I feel like the low BPM stuff always feels wet. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like slippery aim. It's so gross, it's so unsatisfying. No joy, no love, just cross screens and misses.
I mean, this is very like 2018, 2019 mapping style too, and when it comes to how it feels, some of the patterns, just it's so weird to say that about a jump map, but like it really does feel like we are back in 2018 right now looking at this. But yeah, no real huge diff spikes so far. The jumps are very consistent, and the burst I think at most is like 7 or 8 notes. But like at 207 BPM, like it's very chill.
If you're uber handicapped, you might miss on the stream, but I think most people should be fine. You know, you brought up a really good point with the 2017 name. There are a couple throwbacks, I want to say. That should be pretty cool to see. Arguably too many, but we'll get to that when we get to that. If I have to PvP a bit in Mappool feedback, I'll do it. The nostalgia pill was hitting pretty hard.
Which is a very, very safe Nomad 1 pick here. Nothing that is like too difficult to the point where you're gonna have to like really sit down and look at it, although I would hope Nomad 1s wouldn't have that, but yeah, the end jumps are a little bit more spaced out. It's kind of hard to tell, but is potential, especially if you are RFCing and nerves are a factor, there's potential for misses. Don't get tripped by the 1/3 there. You will drop accuracy. You probably won't miss if you just smash it, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
pretty straightforward Nomad one.
I mean, yeah. Let's get into the slop of the pool. Well, the first of two slop maps, I want to say. From OWC, it's just that 1240 BPM burst map from Silver Boxer. Put the speed in the bag and go next.
I can't say that I know this map. Can't say that I would be able to play this map either. But yeah, 244 BPM, it's 9.7. It's actually a little bit higher AR than that Nomad one. I think it was 9.5 on that one. And I think that's just to account for the higher BPM and the amount of bursts to get rid of some of the density in the map if it was lower. But
yeah,
the AR is not going to cause issues here.
I think this map and the pool overall should feel super comfortable for players. It's a 6.8 star pool, but it's a 6.8 star pool that you will probably be 3-weighing and using chunk in these maps, or wanting to 3-way. So, it should be chilled. Should be wholesome chungas. Vibes. Definitely not low pressure though.
Lots of bursts so far in this map that are gonna be a little straining on players who might not have the stamina for this, especially some of the lower seeded teams. I could see maybe wanting to ban this one out, although could be better bans in some of the future picks. I'll have to wait to see about that, but especially if you don't have, as you said, like a 3-man roster that are comfortable, especially on this kind of BPM for as long of a strain as this map is proving to be. Worth looking at as a ban, and also just really going to need to see solid performances, especially with, as you said, it's like 6.8 star range here on the pool, so for a lot of the higher seeded teams, even like top 16 teams, I feel like shouldn't really be struggling with getting 2 or 3 FCs on this map.
Okay, I have to... one second, I have to ping people that the showcase started. I totally forgot. 1 second.
It's okay, all the cool people are here already, but yeah, we'll get everyone else in. Bit of slider jumps there on the end. Could see some players lose full combos on that. Maybe get some act drops if you miss aim one of those, but yeah, overall pretty good test when it comes to the higher BPM burst tapping. I think a lot of the higher skill cap teams will enjoy that one at the very least when it comes to mechanics based pick. It's going to be your Nomad 2.
Okay, I'm back, guys. Nomad
There we
3
go.
is just gonna be some wholesome chungus VTuber alt. What a joyous song, guys! Doesn't this song just make you so gleeful and want to dance and just so happy? I know it does for me.
I do enjoy VTuber music. So I know that is a controversial take, but I know many people are not the biggest fans, but this is a fun looking map so far here. I'm enjoying it for not knowing what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, as far as YouTuber songs go, I think this one's totally fine. I think this is I also like the vibe behind the song. I do think it is very happy, and I'm a sucker for happy, joyous, smile bait maps, for lack of a better term. I love joy bait. This is not the pedal div for people that do know this map. This is a collab div. Forgive me for who this is a collab by. But 2 P names I can't pronounce, but
I'll look it up here.
This is a pretty chill collab. Also very wholesome map. Simple to Mud 3. You make a good point, Ronnie. I think the only VTuber artist I really don't like is Mori Calliope. I think that's the only one I really don't
Totally
understand.
fair. It's a very polarizing voice. This is a collab between Creaminix and Pinky, or Punky. Two mappers from Japan.
Checks out. Checks out. I could see a Japanese Blabber song like this. Yeah, honestly, not too much more to say. I guess I'll shout out some of the replayers since I think I forgot to do that. Shout out to whoever replayed this map. I woke up at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. to do this.
No. You're totally right. Because I was just thinking about not doing, shutting out the replays for the previous map, and don't see it on the screen anywhere currently. But this replay's kind of heat here so far. I don't know if you can cast your curse in a showcase with a pre-recorded replay, but
the replayer is right under the map name on the left side.
Oh, hey, look at that guy. Hey, I know that person.
Let me check out who did the first two maps. Since those two.
Oh goodness. And the replay is ruined. Can't believe the replayer didn't SS this map.
The replayer had a rough day. The replayer had a lot more on his mind than getting an SS on Pokemon 3, that's for sure.
Over under. What's the over under on amount of people missing on that slow slider, you think? Like, if this map gets played in half the matches, I'm thinking at least 7 players are missing on that.
It is. It's really easy. It's like this is my second time playing the map because I missed on the ending once, but I never missed on that slow slider. I think it's super simple.
It's a chill slow slider.
Okay.
All right.
So I was gonna shout out the replayers, but this is a lot more important, guys. This is the first Res Cup custom of 2026.
What?
Oh my goodness gracious. This is a collab between... I should have asked how to pronounce their names. Oh god. It's between Ducky and Jerumish. No! No! Okay.
So the replay currently not working, but we're gonna try to get it working. There it is.
Okay. Just go. This is gonna be a sort of slider mini control map. It's be pretty approachable for most people. AR 9.4. The map will speak for itself, but I was really worried there. I've had to replay this map about 14 times in the past 2 days because of how the OSC and OSR just have not been compatible for whatever reason. But the mappers, Ducky and Jerumis, it is a collab. Jerumis you may recognize from, I believe it is Newspaper Cup.
Okay.
That's like a new mapper cup. So these guys are fairly unfamiliar, I want to say. Very newer to the scene, for sure. I think they did a pretty good job with the map, I want to say. It plays pretty well. I'm happy with it. I like the song as well.
I'm such a sucker for janky slider tech.
Where is it at? Okay. Number 1 was by Plea. Okay. And number 2 was by, I think their name is Herds.
Shoutouts.
I believe those are the number 1 and number 2 players, respectively. And then shout out to me for replaying this map 5 times. What a miss.
What miss? I didn't see it. Sure you're doing okay? Maybe you played this map too much?
I definitely did. I definitely did.
Nah, yeah, don't miss after that pause there, but this map's so cool. Shoutouts to the mappers for this one.
Fair PSA that in the next like day or 2 there might be like very minor changes, but the overall vibe of the map is 99% there. I think there just might be one mod left. I have not looked. Or I have looked. I think it might be something with hit sounds. I'm not sure which version this OSZ is as well. There are like 4 versions floating around right now. And this is either the final version or the second to final version. And the difference is hit sounds. So God knows which one it is. But you guys will all play the right one. And it should be uploaded either already or very soon.
This map is just, it's just so cool to look at. I'm enjoying this a lot. This is I think this will be really fun to play, all things considered. Like, even if you don't like slider tech, it looks like it all flows very, very cleanly.
Yeah, I think this version definitely flows pretty well. I think that was a thing that a lot of the feedback focused on, so hopefully it plays pretty well.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one miss, but thanks, Pez, for that replay.
Yeah, we'll ignore that. Let's move on
pretty
to the... Guys, okay, I spent like 20 hours on reading this week. Gun to, like, no guns allowed, but like, Nerf gun to your head. If you say anything, it might be... It's gonna be personal, okay? Okay. Let's go to
keep my
number
mouth
5,
shut.
the first of the few reading maps we have this week.
James Landino, artist.
This is...
Wait, this is like Aura though.
No, the reading is awesome this week. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I just, whenever I see these maps, I just think about... I think it was a 5 a.m. voice call, and then a like midnight one, and just don't even worry about it. But yeah, this is gonna be a almost techie map, sort of rhythmical, pretty dense though. There are 8s.
I saw some aim control patterns there. It'd be pretty easy to just get lazy with your aim and just miss on whole sections.
Definitely.
Reading wise, this actually looks relatively chill so far. I have only seen like one part that I would probably have to look at in the editor to figure out what was happening, but reading players I think will take a liking to this one pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. OD 8.7, so none of that 80%, 90% FC shenanigans. It should all be pretty easy to add, especially if you're a method player, I guess you could say.
The method.
Yeah, well, I won't speak on that, but definitely. Oh, thank you. I believe this is Runny Sunny doing the replay. Yeah, Runny Sunny, that's my go. That guy stepped in for a lot of replays this week. Very much appreciate that. I would have lost it if I popped into the replays thread at 6 a.m. on a Monday and saw like 2 of them done. Was very happy to see more, but not filled.
Maybe, I think a lot of contention around how well you can hold on to those reverse sliders, the buzz sliders here. It can be really easy to just like try to aim faster to the next ones, and then you'll just end up slider breaking because you aim away from the note too fast. So yeah, really got to pay attention to your aim control on that one.
100%. And I think after you play it like once or twice, you'll get the rhythm down. But
Absolutely.
moving on to Hidden 1. This is the second custom of the pool.
Yo.
Oh, I should have asked how to pronounce this guy's name too. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, it's Okoayu. That
Thank
was
you.
my mapping mentor. Or if you know the name Okoratu, that is them.
Yeah.
That is them.
Guys, he's got me playing Hidden 1. What's up with that? But this is going to be a kind of old style, almost homage-esque map. You should see the full set coming. but kind of familiar to like satin style aim. So back to that like 2017 vibe, but I think this one's even earlier. I think Satin's been sitting on this set for like 10 years now. Give or take. Just lying there waiting to be enjoyed by everyone. But yeah, no, this should be a pretty wholesome map. I'm very happy with it.
Oko is so good at like replicating different mapping styles and executing them really seamlessly. It's really hard to like look at an Oko map and be like, oh yeah, that's an Oko map, because I've played 2 other Oko maps and they look exactly the same. Like they really don't. I think it's super unique here, but yeah, this is such an old style build map, and I love it. But it's still got the nuance of a map made in the current era of mapping, or at least feeling like some of the patterns are more current era. But like, yeah, a lot of those 1/3 are what is it, Kakuzetsu Thanatos or something. Love that. Anybody knows that 2015 map?
I just want to apologize for making this map look like it's 9 stars. I swear it's really not. It's just the visual mod. It turns my brain off. Like, cut me some slack, guys. But anyway, yeah, I like this map a lot. Not the last old feeling map in the pool, actually. I think we have like 3 more, which should be pretty fun to check out later. Back to that old vibe. This is an unpool.
Pseudo-style old mapping, really. Because, like, it's got a lot of the same ideas that you would see in older maps, but, like, the execution is giving a lot more for mechanics to come into play. Right? You're seeing a lot more streams. The jumps are pretty big. They're still symmetrical, but, like, it's still comfortable to play and not just solely there for the visuals. But I mean, like, calling this map comfortable to play is not doing it justice, because like I'm looking at it and there's no way this is the comfy map of the hidden pool.
It's honestly pretty comfortable. All things considered, I was surprised because I thought it was gonna be like, you know, like I don't know, Garden Hidden 1 awkward aim, but honestly it wasn't that bad. So this is pretty comfortable. Hidden 2. Let's get Hidden 2 over with, guys. Thank you, Zadorn, for letting me edit this map. Slight AR change to make it fit more for a 6.8 star pool, but let's have some joy. I think there's another joy song.
Overlap reading my beloved.
It's all very intuitive, I swear. Canadians, close your eyes, please. What was it? Oh, it was like some Canadian Squeegee tournament I was watching on a whim. I saw this map and thought it looked pretty wholesome.
CBC or no, that's draft.
It was like
Red
a month
Log?
ago.
Oh, never mind.
No, it was a month ago. It was very low key. Very, very low key. I think I saw Azer and Yip 1v1ing, throwing hands.
It's amazing. Spring Flower Scramble, Pikapon says.
That'll do it. But this wasn't actually suggested by me, if I remember correctly. Let me find who this was. It's either Eumerius or Sky.
I will not speak on that finger control section.
No. This was Sky. I swear all the reading in this map is pretty intuitive. Not
Oh no, I mean you could. It was chill to read. It was just the slider section right in the middle. I know I would miss on over and over. Yo, shout out to Runny Sunny again.
This was Sky. Thank you, King, for saving reading. Oh, don't sight read this though. It's intuitive, but it's intuitive on your second play. That is a big thing with some of these maps. Kind of sort of know mod 5 in that way.
It's a sick map. This
Okay.
is a banger pool. Where
Now,
are the
speaking
sinkers,
of
if any?
bangers, let's get my favorite map in the pool, Hard Rock 1 going. This is gonna be one of the more experimental maps, more experimental vibes. This is like, what is this genre called? Like grunge? Metal? Like hard metal?
If this is Gold Lewis Dickinson's theme for Guilty Gear, it is metal.
I believe it is.
It is. It is. It took me a second.
Yeah.
I don't play against Gold Lewis's too often. It's just not a character that you see anymore. But all of the Guilty Gear songs. Also, this will probably get like all the VODs muted. But
That's what it is, you know.
all
Sacrifice
the
I'm willing to
Gear,
make.
The Guilty Gear soundtrack is just so good. Every single character theme.
I guess it's just something you had to be there for. Be there or else you won't be seeing it at all. This is gonna be a lower CS map, like 4.5 or so. This was another Sky suggestion. I think Sky did the entire Hard Rock pool this week.
Fire.
But I think this is pretty interesting. I honestly don't know how to describe this map in a way that isn't alt tech. But I have a really hard time describing it that way given the song. It's really weird. Like if this was an electronic song, I think it would be so easy to just say it's alt tech, but the metal grunge, the vibe, it's so weird, but it's so cool.
Something like I think you could call it a little bit of a light slider alt tech going on here. Because like Tekken itself is just a style of mapping. It's not necessarily like it's associated with the music styles of like more techno or EDM type stuff, and like those songs tend to play pretty well for tech. But like this is so cool. I love slider maps like this, especially when it is to unorthodox music like this metal song here, rock metal, whatever yeah. And now I'm questioning if this is metal or not, but the band itself is like they hover a fine line between rock and roll and metal, so
it's definitely on the metal side. I just don't know what specific type of metal it is.
Yeah.
You know who does know? Google. God.
Shoutouts Google.
This guy's dead. Let's look for the specific one here. Gold Lewis Dickinson's battle theme.
Yes.
Upbeat metal and hard rock track. Thank you, Google AI. Oh, there's a bit of a spike here, but it looks... it's kind of like a puppy spike, where it looks really hard, but it's honestly pretty easy.
This doesn't seem that bad.
It's... honestly, this map looks kind of nuclear, but I think that's because of the high AR paired with the CS 4.5. It just looks incredibly intimidating. But I think when you play it, honestly, you feel like you're gonna miss, but you never do. Unless you're me in a few seconds here. Spoiler alert. But...
no, this map is just such a vibe. I love this so much. I'm gonna download this and play this later.
No idea. Absolutely no idea what this genre specifically is. You know who would know? Azu. That guy's such a nerd. Such a music nerd.
Any audio heads in the chat right now?
My guess is no.
Yeah.
Audio heads are usually
I'm not
asleep
thinking so.
at normal hours. Alright. Hard Rock 2. Hard Rock 2 is going to be another Pretty chill map, I want to say. If I remember correctly, I believe this is another pretty simple map. Ice Cult. Can't go wrong with him. This was another Sky suggestion. So Sky took care of the Hard Rock pool this week. I think it's a very nice Hard Rock pool. I'd be super happy playing it. Which, that's usually my bar. If I would enjoy it, it's good enough for me.
Anything fancy going on here with this precision hard rock too? CS 6.5 looks pretty straightforward in terms of stat line.
I'm low-key, it's just normal. I think after that freaky Hard Rock 1, you know, CS 4.5, we had to really make sure that we had actual aim in the Hard Rock pool at a Hard Rock level, I want to say. So higher CS, you know, actually requiring the precision element paired with aim. Because without that, it might just be considered a high AR no mod pool, which is not what you want.
This is pretty chill.
Oh yeah, no.
Nothing too big of difficulty thus far. A little quad there though, but it still shouldn't be tripping you up.
I can see people missing on it because they don't know it's there. But in my honest opinion, the small bursts like this are hard to miss on if you know they exist. Especially the big 2026. Everyone can play any BPM at 5 notes. That's my hot take.
And what's your main? I cannot. I'm slow for any BPM beyond like 250. Too much.
That's fair. Might I recommend tapping into the? I thank you, Running Sunny, for another FC. Very beautiful work.
Yes. Great, amazing FC. Thank you, Ready Sunny.
Okay.
Don't get slow-sided.
Honestly, let's keep the train going. DT1. DT1 is fine, by the way. I don't mean to laugh at DT1. DT1 is awesome. This is awesome. I love this map.
This is fire.
So you mentioned feeling old, or not old, but like an older style map. This is bringing us all the way back to 2015, I believe.
Yeah,
and
that sounds right.
I mean, DT1's stopped getting better after 2016. So
was this not in OWC 2017?
God knows. I did the elite bot check on this.
I'm gonna go.
I did the elite bot check on this. I have it. Yeah, because I was worried it was overpooled or something, but no, it hasn't been pulled in like 3 years.
Or no, it wasn't this. I don't know what it was.
Odds are, I looked at it this weekend though. All of the options for the DT1 this week were like this old 2015 D&B style aim with some burst kind of vibe. I don't think this was used in OWC. It was used in OJT. Whatever that is.
Japan tournament maybe? Japanese tournament?
I'm gonna find out.
I'm not sure.
Holy! No. Okay. I open
Oh,
one lobby and I see Abyssal. I have Abyssal dummy? And then a couple of Japanese players. Holy.
I was getting this map mixed up with Claris Colorful. That was the double time in OWC 2016. And it's a very, 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 very similar map style. Colorful
is also a great map. I've used it a couple times, and is that map by Toybot?
No.
No.
Sorry, I just scrolled away from it.
It's it's someone's name I can't pronounce.
Laurier.
That's what I remember.
Laurier.
That guy's gone. GG. But yeah, no, that's another great map. Okay. I've been waiting for this DT2 the whole showcase. I can't even lie to you. This is. I don't even want to say anything about it. Just put it on. Just put it on,
Just
man.
feel it. Just feel. Oh,
Let's just get it going.
God.
Let's play some real OSU.
K-pop.
Let's getting some scores. Nothing but love and joy in this PT pool.
This is double tap friendly, by the way. If you are of the variety who has a team that doesn't have roster for this, you can just double tap this map, and it's actually like low-key very chill.
I wish you didn't tell everyone that. Let them figure it out themselves.
Listen.
Oh, now we're
you
gonna
gotta
see.
spread the elite ball knowledge, okay?
No, I do appreciate that. For better or worse.
I mean, you'll get like 70% accuracy, but you can FC this just double tapping.
I think this is gonna be pretty comfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like multiple 3-ways on this map. Honestly. But I think it's fun, all things considered. You don't really see brain dead maps like this in tournaments nowadays.
Nah, yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
also, K-pop quota. Sorry, I totally forgot. Had to fill it out somehow. Or fill it up somehow. Goodness.
I was just gonna say, this map has made its rounds throughout many tournaments. Across different, I think mostly in like 4-digit scenes, I feel like. I don't really see this too much in higher tier tourney scenes, but I mean, this is like like Baby's first 400, 500, if you're a tapping player.
Oh, definitely. I think I don't even have a score submitted on this map, surprisingly. But I guess I never really play this sort of thing nowadays. But yeah, I think it's high 500 for like an SS. I don't know what else to say except let's keep the train rolling. DT3 is gonna be. I think Ruddy pulled up for all 3 DTs, so I was just
Yeah. This is Aura. I love this pool so much.
This is a very happy. Well, no, happy isn't the right vibe, but
whimsical.
I like the D2 pool. That's for sure. So yeah, we have 3 months. Yeah, we have 3 months. Don't worry. So if you think something like some really important maps are missing, they could be on free mod. We'll see. But yeah, no, DT alt probably gonna feel somewhat similar to the Balls map. Not necessarily style-wise, but skill set-wise. I don't think it's a bad thing.
This will definitely get VODs muted, but it's K-Dot. Like this is so chill, dude. I've got such a big smile on my face watching this be in the pool.
I'm gonna enjoy watching people play this map. I'm not gonna comment on what this guy just smoked. Go back to the basement, please. But yeah, no, I think this is a pretty chill time to be vibes.
I rap a black on tracks, so rest assured my rights, my wrongs, I'm right till I'm right with God. And you know, we've been hurt, been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga, and we hate po-po when the killer's dead in the street for sure. Nigga,
Was the whole DT pool 10.3? I didn't even realize. I know DT1 and 3 are.
DT2 is AR 10,
Oh, okay.
which is probably the most comfortable AR in the entire game on DT.
True.
But DT1 and DT3 are 10.3, yeah.
Probably nice for a lot of the higher seeded teams, I think. Might be a little bit of a struggle for like definitely like the bottom of the 32 teams, but like yeah, it's accessible. 10.3 I think should be accessible for any of the teams that have made it into the group stages, or sorry, top 32, round of 32.
I agree. I think the only really tricky 10.3 map would be DT3, honestly. Anyway, moving on to Free Mod 1. I think this is going to be a pretty wholesome chuggish map. Some kind of awkwardy aim, Free Mod 1 style, high BPM shenanigans. I've been waiting to use this map for a while. I can't lie. I'm a X-Lite. What's the right word? Stan? Enjoyer? Fanboy? All of the above? All of the above. So very happy we got this made it into the pool. Okay. I'm sorry, but I really need to go to the bathroom. I will be back in like
Sure.
minutes. I'll force it out.
I'll take over. I'll yap it out with this one.
Simple map. This should be just a, like high BPM name. You got it.
Yeah. No, this is a pretty cool map so far. I saw a couple of little swing double rhythms there earlier. Looks like be on a little bit of a longer side here, 3.5 minutes. But is gonna be on that AR 9.2, which it shouldn't be an issue, especially for the hidden players, but it can add a little bit of density, especially since it is 232 BPM, so. Yeah, mostly just some aim here, but I mean, there is a little bit of finger control. I just saw a couple of 1/3 being played out. Should be, I mean, of course, we're seeing it on the hard rush here, but I would imagine this is relatively well balanced between both the mods. Yeah, definitely room for some potential misses to happen, especially going between all these like little tiny jump aim control sections into some 1/3 4-note bursts. Not really paying too much attention. You could probably maybe make a mistake, drop some ack here or there, you know, at worst just miss out on the pattern, but aim seems to be the name of the game here, as Pez said. This is a good vibe map. I am just enjoying this whole pool really so far. Yeah, I am a little hopeful here that the Free Mod 2 will maybe be a bit more stream flow aimy. That DT3 is probably the best that we've had in terms of like flow skill set, but is going to be a little bit less accessible being in the DT slot, and also a little bit more unorthodox on some of those stream patterning. Yeah, this just seems to be a culmination of standard aim consistency, some 3-note bursts, some 5-note bursts sprinkled in, and then you've got your spattering of 1/3 bursts, kind of mix things up, keep you on your toes. Nothing that is like jump scare so far here. Wait, was this a custom? Surely Pez would have said it before they left. If it is, then
Okay, I'm back. I just lost at least.
Not a custom.
I lost
map.
at least
okay.
4 pounds there. This is
welcome back.
for
Welcome
a
back.
different tournament.
Gotcha.
Probably one of FC Easy's tournaments, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I just misunderstood. But yeah, cool map. You got back just in time for the end of it.
Okay, let's get to Fremont 2. Yeah, no, this is gonna be another 2016, 2017 era map. So yeah, no, let the 2017 train ride.
Little anti-mod action here on the Fremont 2. Very standard anti-mod. CS5, AR8.
This has, okay, I think this is probably the most cooled anti-mod map in 2017 and 2018. Map by Silver. They use this map for everything it's worth, I'm pretty sure. And then stops. I'm pretty sure even the people back in 2017 were getting annoyed.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But some very lights, bearing control. I mean, they weren't doing things too crazy back in 2017, 2018, so none of that devious Spanish shenanigans. Should be pretty simple on hidden, simple on hard rock as well. Pretty wholesome.
Some of these bursts are a little jarring. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, but
it has a little bit of kind of jank, I want to say.
Yeah.
Not the jank as in it's mapped poorly, but jank as in if you did this song nowadays and had the same rhythm, it would look so different. So different. So I think it looks weird. It's also quite short. Not that I really mind. Job's done. Put the Fremont 2 in the bag. Okay. Let's move on to Fremont 3. So with the speed in No Mod 2, we moved the stream map to Fremont this week. This is a custom from Doc. I think it's Doc. I think they commissioned Kiki to make this map. Let me see. Yes, quarterfinals. I think for the lower division, because I don't remember playing this. But it's a pretty awesome map. Low-key just streams. Pulling that flow-in requirement that the no Mappool didn't.
Would this have been, it would have been the previous iteration of Doc, right? Not the most recent one?
2024, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, because I didn't recognize this, and I was commentating for the most recent iteration.
Yeah, this is the one I played in, like, when they had all, like... I don't know if Doc goes crazy with the customs in the original.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Like,
at least the last few years.
So much money. So much money. But, this was the one that had the gambling theme. That's what I remember about this one. Shout out to Tangela Merkai.
Oh,
is that an I?
Tangela Merkel, but I think it's Tangela Merkel because it's a play on words for Angela Merkel.
Well, thank you for saving me there.
And then and now you're gonna have to save me on the replayer name. It's Mirchik, right? Something along those lines.
I would have just spelled it out. I'm not gonna lie. MYP.
Oh. Yeah, because it's like the anglicized version of a Cyrillic name, and I think like somebody explained to me it's like Mirchik or something. Mirchik, something like that.
That is insane trivia. I never would have known in approximately ever. It's not enough. I mean, it is an FC. Nice.
Also, Cuckweezy on the replay for the Fremont 2.
Thank you, Kakweezy, for my 2. Okay. My job's about done. Yeah, no, the only thing left is tiebreaker, so I guess we'll have Dreamer take it from here. Okay. Yeah. That was the round 32 pool, guys. I hope everyone that was here enjoyed. I hope all the players have a good time playing it. I hope to see good feedback. I hope not to see any death threats this week. Not that there were any last week, but you know how it is sometimes. Thank you to the testers. Thank you for the people that stepped in for QA, like Devious Panda, Saros, and Muchin. It's very much appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you all next week for round 16.